Hello and welcome back to Mr. English Lab. My name is Emma, and I'm here to guide you on your journey to clear, confident, and natural English. If you're new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button so you never miss a lesson. Your support truly helps this channel grow. Alright, take a deep breath, relax, and let's begin today's session. Listen closely, my friend, because today on Mr. English Lab, we begin with a quiet moment that feels small, but slowly opens the door to something much bigger. Imagine this scene. It is early morning, and the world is still sleepy. The sun is not fully awake yet. The sky is soft and light. The air feels cool. And you are standing in front of a simple old bookshelf. Nothing special, just a shelf. But something calls you. Something invites you. And you don't know why. You reach out your hand, slowly, almost without thinking, and your fingers touch the cover of a small book. It is not new. It is not shiny. The color is gently fading. The edges are a little worn. But there is something about it. Something calm. Something warm. Something mysterious. You pick it up. And for a moment, you simply hold it. Quiet. Still. Curious. You open the first page, and suddenly, the room around you feels different. Softer. Bigger. Like you just stepped into another world. You breathe out slowly. And just like that, a simple moment becomes the beginning of a story. A story about reading. A story about the mind. A story about English. A story about you. Welcome back, my friend, to Mr. English Lab, where we help you learn English through simple, slow, and natural listening. Today, we explore one powerful idea: how reading can change your mind, your thoughts, and your English in ways you may not expect. But before we go deep, let me ask you something. When you read, what happens inside your mind? Do you hear a quiet voice inside you? Do you see pictures? Do you feel emotions? Do you imagine places you have never seen? People you have never met? Ideas you never thought before? Reading is like magic, but not the loud kind of magic you see in movies. It is gentle, soft, but very strong. It enters your mind quietly and then begins to shape things, change things, open things. And sometimes, one simple sentence from a book can stay with you for years. Maybe forever. But let me take you back to our scene. You are holding that small old book. And slowly, you begin to read the first words. The sentences are simple. Soft. They feel like they are talking to you. They feel like they know you. As you read, something interesting happens. Your breathing slows down. Your shoulders relax. Your mind becomes focused. The world gets quiet. And for a moment, you forget everything else: your phone, your plans, your noise, your worries. It is just you and the story. This moment is powerful because reading creates a small island inside your mind. A peaceful island. A safe island. A place where your thoughts can rest and grow. Many people don't realize this. They think reading is only for learning information. But reading is actually a calm space where your brain can breathe. Now let me ask you another simple question. How often do you create this space for yourself? How often do you stop everything and allow your mind to open? How often do you let a story take your hand and show you something new? Maybe you read sometimes. Maybe rarely. Or maybe you want to read more, but life is busy, stressful, full of distractions. I understand. We all understand. But today, we are going to explore why reading, even 5 minutes a day, can improve your mind and help your English grow faster than you expect. So, let me guide you deeper into this experience. Imagine that you are again standing with that old book in your hands. You turn another page. And as the story continues, you begin to notice something strange. The words feel easier than usual. Your reading feels smoother. Normally, you stop often. You check the meaning of a word. You feel a little unsure. But this time, something is different. You just keep going. Why? Because your brain is waking up. Reading does something very special to your mind. Every time your eyes move across the words, your brain is building connections, new small bridges inside your memory and language system. These bridges help you understand faster and speak better and think more clearly. And the best part? You don't even feel it happening. It is quiet work, hidden work, but powerful work, just like a seed growing under the ground. And that is why reading is not only a hobby. It is mental exercise. It is training for your mind. But unlike other types of training, this one feels calm and enjoyable. Let me share something with you. Many English learners tell me, reading is too slow for me. But the truth is, reading makes your brain faster, not your eyes, but your thinking. Reading helps you connect ideas. Reading helps you understand context. Reading helps you imagine deeper. And when you speak English later, your words flow more naturally because your brain already practiced building sentences through reading. Now, let's go back to the story. You are standing by the window now, sunlight touching the page. You keep reading. And suddenly, you stop for a moment. Something in the story touches your heart. Maybe it reminds you of a memory. Maybe it sounds beautiful. Maybe it gives you a little hope. But something inside you moves. This is the moment when reading becomes more than just words. It becomes emotion. It becomes human. It becomes alive. And when language becomes emotional, you remember it better. You understand it deeper. You feel it stronger. And that is how your English improves naturally, when it becomes part of your life, your feelings, your thoughts. Now I want to ask you something very simple, but very important. Do you want to speak English more naturally, slowly, confidently? If the answer is yes, then reading, even a little, is your strongest friend. Because reading teaches you the rhythm of the language, the music of the language, the pause, the flow, the soft moments, the strong moments, the quiet moments. Reading teaches you how a sentence breathes. And when your sentences breathe, your English becomes alive. Let's follow the story again. You close the book for a moment and look outside the window. The world looks different, but nothing has changed outside. Something changed inside you. A good book has this power. It doesn't change the world. It changes the way you see the world. And that is the beginning of a stronger mind. A mind that notices more. A mind that understands better. A mind that stays calm in a noisy world. A mind that can think in English without fear. Yes, reading can do that. Slowly, quietly, naturally. As you hold the book in your hands, you feel something new. You feel ready. Ready to learn. Ready to grow. Ready to explore the meaning inside the pages. And maybe ready to explore the meaning inside yourself. Because reading is not, I must learn. Reading is, I want to understand. And that desire, that feeling, that moment of curiosity, is the beginning of real English growth. You open the book again. You take a deep breath. And as the next chapter begins, so does your journey into a new way of thinking. A clearer mind. A calmer heart. A stronger English. Imagine it is the next morning. The sky is still soft. The air still cool. But something inside you feels a little different. You wake up, stretch your arms, sit up slowly, and then you see it, the little old book you opened yesterday. It is still there, waiting for you, like a friend who stayed the night quietly, without making any noise. You look at it for a moment. You feel something warm inside you. Curiosity. Comfort. A small excitement. You pick up the book again, and when you open it, the same calm feeling returns. Your mind feels like it is slowly opening, like a flower gently opening its petals to the sun. This small moment, this small action, opening a book in the morning, may look simple. But this simple action has great power. Quiet power. The kind of power that changes your mind little by little, without pressure, without stress, without noise. This is why reading every day, even for a few minutes, can transform you more than you think. Let me ask you something, my friend. How do you usually start your morning? Do you check your phone? Do you rush? Do you think about work and problems immediately? Many of us do. We wake up and, before our mind can fully breathe, we jump into the world's noise, messages, news, schedules, worries, and endless information. But reading, even for 5 peaceful minutes, gives your brain a different beginning. A calm beginning. A warm beginning. A clean beginning. When you start your day with reading, you tell your mind, slow down, focus, grow. And when your mind receives this message every day, something beautiful happens. Your thinking becomes clearer. Your memory becomes stronger. Your emotions become softer. Your English becomes more natural, not because you push yourself, but because you create a gentle habit. Habits shape us slowly, quietly, but surely. And reading is one of the most powerful habits for your mind. Now, imagine yourself reading the first lines of the new chapter. Maybe the story takes you to a different village, or into the thoughts of a new character, or into a moment of silence where nothing happens on the outside, but so much happens on the inside. Your eyes follow the text. Your mind creates pictures. Your feelings come alive. Your imagination starts to move. This is the magic of reading. You are sitting in your home, but inside the story, you are traveling. And as you travel, your English is growing. Not fast, not loud, not stressful, but naturally. With every sentence, every paragraph, every quiet moment. Let me explain something very important. When you read daily, your brain starts noticing patterns in English. Patterns of sentence structure. Patterns of emotion. Patterns of rhythm. You start understanding phrases without translating. You start feeling the meaning instead of analyzing it. You start guessing words from context instead of stopping, and your brain becomes more comfortable living inside English. This is not about reading fast. This is not about reading difficult books. This is not about finishing many pages. This is about giving your brain a daily gift, a gift of thinking in English peacefully. Imagine a small garden. If you water the garden once a month, nothing grows. If you water it once a week, maybe some leaves appear. But if you water it every day, even for 1 minute, the garden becomes alive. Fresh. Full. Beautiful. Your mind works in the same way. Daily reading is like daily water. It feeds your thoughts. It feeds your language. It feeds your imagination. And slowly, your English grows green and strong. Now, let's go back to your morning scene. You read a line, and it makes you pause. The sentence is simple, but it feels deep. Maybe it says something like, "The world is quiet before the day begins." And suddenly, you feel that. You notice the quiet around you. You notice your breathing. You feel peaceful. This is not just reading, this is connection. When words touch your feelings, learning becomes beautiful. You continue reading, and the story begins to introduce a small problem. A character is unsure about something. They feel lost. They feel confused. And as you read their thoughts, you start to recognize your own thoughts. You start to reflect on your own questions. You feel less alone, because the character feels human, like you. Reading builds empathy. It builds understanding. It builds emotional intelligence. And when your emotions grow, your language grows with them, because language is not just words, it is feelings inside words. As you turn the page, your brain continues its quiet work. It collects new vocabulary without stress. It organizes sentences in your memory. It remembers the flow of natural English. You don't feel it, but your brain is becoming more flexible, more open, more balanced. Let me share something interesting. Many people think they need big study sessions to improve English. They think they need textbooks, grammar drills, long exercises. But the secret is simple. Just a little reading every day, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, even 3 minutes, can be more powerful than one long study session per week. Why? Because the brain loves repetition. Little steps every day are more powerful than big steps once in a while. Reading gives your brain exactly what it loves, small daily practice that slowly becomes natural. And when something becomes natural, it becomes easy. Let me tell you something even more amazing. Reading doesn't only help your English. It also helps your memory, your focus, your creativity, your emotional balance. Reading trains your brain to stay on one thing longer. Reading trains your mind to imagine. Reading trains your thoughts to move slowly and clearly, instead of jumping from distraction to distraction. And the more calm your mind is, the more language you can learn. Let's return to the story again. You now close the book gently, like you are closing a door to another world. You take a deep breath. You feel ready for the day. You feel soft inside, calm, more centered. Nothing big has changed in your life. But something small has changed in your mind, and that small change will guide the rest of your day. This is the quiet power of reading every day. It does not shout. It does not force. It simply supports you. It lifts you. It helps you grow gently. You put the book down and start your morning routine. But inside you, the story continues. The sentences stay in your memory. The emotions stay in your heart. The calm stays in your breath. And this, my friend, is how simple reading grows into a habit that improves. Let me take you into a different moment now. Imagine that it is evening. The day is almost finished. The sky is turning soft orange, then pink, then slowly darker. The world begins to quiet down. People are going home. Lights are turning on. Everything feels slower, calmer, gentler. And there you are, sitting in a comfortable chair, holding the same simple book you opened that morning. You open the page you stopped at, and for a second, you just look at the words. They sit there quietly, waiting. And maybe you wonder, how can these simple black marks on paper change me? How can they affect my mind so much? But they do. And tonight, we explore how. You see, reading is not just about understanding a story. Reading is not just about learning new vocabulary. Reading is not just about practicing English. Reading actually changes the shape of your brain. It changes the way your brain connects ideas. It changes the way your brain reacts to the world. It changes the way your brain remembers, feels, imagines, and understands. Let me explain it simply. Inside your brain, there are billions of tiny connections. Little bridges. Every time you read, some of these bridges grow stronger. New ones appear. Old ones repair themselves. And slowly, your brain becomes more powerful and flexible, like a muscle that becomes stronger with every movement. When you read, your brain does many things at the same time. It looks at symbols. It turns them into sounds. It turns those sounds into meaning. It turns meaning into emotions. It turns emotions into memories. And it does all of this in one quiet moment while your eyes move across the page. Isn't that amazing? You sit still, but inside your head, a whole world of activity is happening. Imagine a little light turning on inside your mind every time you understand a sentence. Another light turns on when you imagine something. Another when you feel something. Another when you connect an idea to your own life. And soon, the whole brain becomes brighter and brighter and brighter. This is why people who read regularly often think more clearly, remember more easily, and speak with more confidence. Now, let's follow you again with your book. As you begin reading the next paragraph, your brain starts connecting the story to things you already know. Maybe the character walks down a quiet street. And immediately, your brain remembers a quiet street from your own life, perhaps your city, your village, your childhood home. The moment you make this connection, your brain becomes more alive, stronger, more active. Reading activates memory. Reading activates imagination. Reading activates emotion. Reading activates language. Reading activates everything that makes you human. And here is something truly special. When you read in English, your brain starts building English pathways, English connections, English bridges. These bridges allow you to think in English more easily. They allow you to speak without translating. It's a little like walking through a forest. The first time, there is no path. You move slowly. You push branches aside. You are not sure which way to go. But the more you walk the same path, the clearer it becomes. The ground becomes smoother. The plants move aside. And soon, you walk without thinking. Reading creates these paths inside your mind. Every page makes the path clearer. Every sentence makes the path softer. Every word makes the path easier. Until one day, without even noticing when it happened, English becomes comfortable, natural, almost automatic. Now, let's go deeper into your reading moment. The story becomes more emotional now. A character is facing a difficult decision. They feel afraid. They don't know what to do. As you read their thoughts, you begin to feel with them. Your brain activates something called empathy, the ability to understand someone else's feelings. When you feel what a character feels, your emotional intelligence grows. You learn how to understand people better. You learn how to listen better. And English stops being just a language. It becomes a bridge between you and the world. Let me give you a quiet moment now. Imagine yourself reading the sentence. He looked at the sky and wondered if things would ever change. It is simple, soft, but your mind begins to open. You imagine the sky. You feel the character's question. You think about a moment in your own life when you asked yourself a similar question. You connect the words with your own story. And suddenly, the meaning becomes deeper. The memory becomes stronger. And the English becomes easier to remember. Why? Because emotion is the key to memory. When a sentence touches your heart, your brain holds it tightly. It does not forget. This is one reason why reading improves your English faster than many other methods, because reading activates emotion, not just knowledge. And when your emotions wake up, your learning becomes alive. Now, imagine that the character in your book begins to walk through a forest. The leaves move gently in the wind. The air smells fresh. The light moves softly between the trees. As you read the description, your brain creates pictures. You see the forest. You hear the wind. You feel the peace. This imagination process is something your brain loves. When you imagine a scene, your brain becomes more creative, more flexible, more open. And this helps your English too. Because when you speak, you need creativity. You need flexibility. You need the ability to imagine what you want to say and how you want to say it. Reading trains all of this quietly. You look at the page again. You follow the words. And your brain, without you noticing, practices thousands of tiny movements, understanding, guessing, connecting, feeling, imagining. All of these tiny movements are building something strong inside you. Reading is the gym of the mind. But unlike a real gym, you don't sweat. You don't get tired. You don't feel pressure. You simply sit, breathe, and read. And yet, your mind becomes healthier, stronger, and more prepared for real-life English. Now let me tell you something beautiful. When scientists study the brain of a person who is reading, they see activity across almost the entire brain. It is like watching fireworks, soft, bright, beautiful fireworks inside the mind. Reading is one of the few activities that uses almost every part of your brain at the same time. Memory, imagination, emotion, vision, logic, language, all of them light up when you read. And when you read in English, all of these areas learn English together. Not just one part. Not just the language part. All parts. That's why reading makes your English feel natural and real, not robotic or memorized. Now return to your evening chair. The room is quiet. The page is in front of you. The story continues. The world outside grows darker, but the world inside your mind becomes brighter. You are not just reading a book, you are growing a brain. You turn another page. Slowly, gently, and your mind takes another step forward. Imagine this. You are still sitting in your evening chair, the same chair from before. The room is quiet. Maybe there is a soft lamp beside you, giving the room a warm yellow light. Outside, the sky is now dark, calm, peaceful. You hold the book in your hands, and as you open the next page, something magical begins to happen. The world around you disappears. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but slowly, softly, naturally. The walls of your room feel like they melt away. The noise of the real world fades. The chair, the lamp, the night outside, everything becomes lighter, quieter, softer. Because when you read, you step into another world. This world is built with words, but it feels real. It feels alive. It feels full of movement and sound and color. You can almost see it. You can almost hear it. You can almost touch it. This, my friend, is one of the greatest gifts of reading. It gives you a window to new places, new ideas, new feelings, new people, new dreams, new worlds. Let's walk through this window together. The story begins to take you somewhere new. Maybe the character travels to a small town by the sea. Maybe the air smells like salt. Maybe the waves move gently. Maybe seagulls cry in the distance. And even though you are not at the sea, you feel like you are there. Or maybe the character walks through a busy market. People talking. Children running. Fruits, colors, smells, sounds all alive and full of energy. And even though you are not in that market, you feel like you can see it. Or maybe the story takes you to a quiet mountain. Snow everywhere. A cold wind touches your face. Silence sits calmly around you. And even though you are not on that mountain, you feel like you can breathe that cold air. This is the power of imagination. This is the power of reading. This is the power of words. Now think about this. Every time you step into another world through reading, your mind learns something new. Even if the story is simple, even if the sentences are easy, your brain travels. Your heart travels. And your English travels too. When you read about new places, you learn new vocabulary, naturally, without stress. When you read about new people, you learn new emotions slowly, calmly. When you read about different cultures, your mind opens, your thinking grows. When you read about new ideas, your creativity comes alive. Books give you experiences that you may never have in real life. But through reading, you still get to feel them, understand them, live them safely, softly, deeply. Now, let me take you deeper into the story. You continue reading, and the character in the book reaches a new land. They look around with wide eyes. Everything is new to them, the houses, the sounds, the people, the sky. They feel curious, excited, a little scared. And as you read, you feel the same emotions inside you. You ask yourself, what would I do if I were there? How would I feel in this place? What would I say? What would I think? How would I live in this world? And that is when something special happens. Your imagination and the story become one. You are no longer just a reader. You are part of the world. You are part of the moment. You are part of the story. This is why reading improves listening and speaking. When you imagine scenes, your mind practices creating meaning. When you imagine people, your mind practices understanding feelings. When you imagine conversations, your mind practices English sentences. You may not speak out loud, but your brain is speaking inside. And the more you read, the stronger this inner voice becomes, the more natural it becomes, the more human it becomes, the more English becomes a part of who you are. Let me ask you a small, quiet question. Have you ever felt stuck in life? Stuck in the same routine, the same place, the same problems, the same thoughts? Many people feel this way. We all feel it sometimes. Reading opens the window. Reading brings fresh air. Reading gives you a new angle, a new picture, a new possibility. Reading gives your mind space to breathe. And when your mind breathes, your life feels a little lighter. Now imagine that the character in your story meets someone new. A stranger. Someone from a different country. Someone with a different way of thinking. The two characters talk. They share stories. They tell each other about their lives. And as you read their conversation, you start to hear their voices in your mind. And just like that, you learn how real conversations work, how people talk, how people express feelings, how people ask questions, how people share their thoughts. This is natural English, the kind you hear in real life, not in textbooks. And through reading, you can learn it without fear, without pressure, without anyone watching you or judging your mistakes. Reading gives you a safe place to practice. Now imagine the characters walk together through their new world. Step by step, they learn from each other. Step by step, their understanding grows. Step by step, they change. And as you read, you change with them. You discover new ideas. You discover new words. You discover new emotions. You discover new parts of yourself. Because every new world you enter makes your real world a little bigger. Reading does not only show you other places, it also shows you who you are. Sometimes, you find your dreams inside a story. Sometimes, you find your fears. Sometimes, you find your answers. Sometimes, you find your voice. And this voice becomes the voice you use when you speak English. Now, let's return to you sitting in your chair. You pause for a moment. You close your eyes. You breathe in slowly. You imagine the scene you just read: the sea, the market, the mountain, the new land, the people, the voices. Then you open your eyes again, and the book is still there, waiting for you, inviting you, guiding you. You begin to read again. And once more, the window opens. Once more, the world becomes bigger. Imagine it is the next day. Morning again. A quiet morning. The kind of morning where the world feels gentle, slow, not in a hurry. You wake up, sit up slowly, and your eyes fall on the little book resting on the table beside your bed. And something inside you smiles. You pick it up. You open the page. And as you begin reading, your English begins to grow again. But how? How does reading, this simple, quiet activity, help you build beautiful, natural English? How does it help you speak more clearly, listen more easily, feel more confident, and express yourself like a storyteller? Today, in this section, we take a slow, deep breath and explore exactly that. You see, when you read, something very special happens inside your brain. You meet English in its natural form: soft, calm, flowing like water. Not memorized. Not forced. Not mechanical. Not from a list or a grammar exercise. Reading gives you the real English, the English of stories, of emotion, of life. And this natural English slowly becomes a part of you. Let's follow you as you read. You look at the first sentence. It is simple. Maybe it says something like, "He walked slowly toward the old house." Now, think about what just happened. You didn't translate it. You didn't analyze it. You didn't break it into grammar pieces. You simply understood it. And this understanding is natural. You can feel the pace of the sentence. You can feel the slow movement. You can imagine the scene. Reading teaches your brain rhythm, the music inside language. English is not only words. English is a sound, a flow, a voice, a feeling. When you read sentences that are natural and soft, your mind begins to understand how English breathes. Some sentences are short, like small footsteps. Some sentences are longer, like a river flowing. Some are emotional, like a whisper in your heart. Some are strong, like a loud moment in a movie. When you read every day, your brain begins to copy this music. And later, when you speak, your sentences have this natural flow, not too fast, not too slow, not too broken, not too heavy. Reading gives you the sound of English, even when you read silently. Now imagine you continue reading. The next sentence says, "He felt a strange coldness, but he didn't stop." This sentence gives you something new emotion. It tells you how the character feels. And when you understand emotion in a story, you learn how to express emotion in real life. English is emotional. We use words to express fear, hope, love, sadness, happiness, confusion, excitement. When you read stories, you see how feelings look in English. And later, when you speak, you know how to say, "I feel nervous. I feel excited. I'm not sure what to do." This moment feels special. You don't need to memorize these expressions. You learn them naturally because you see them inside stories. Now, let's go deeper. Imagine the story includes a short conversation. "Are you going inside?" she asked. He nodded. "Yes. I have to." Simple. Soft. Clear. But this small conversation teaches you real-life English, the English people use every day. Reading shows you how people ask questions. Reading shows you how people answer. Reading shows you how people interrupt. Reading shows you how people breathe between words. You begin to understand the natural flow of speaking without studying rules. Now think about vocabulary. Many learners think they must memorize long lists of words. But lists are cold. Lists are empty. Lists have no emotion. Your brain forgets them quickly. But when you find a new word inside a story, your brain remembers it better. Because it has life. It has a picture. It has a meaning. It has a place in your mind. For example, if you read, "The wind whispered through the trees," you don't only learn the word whispered. You feel the meaning, you hear the soft sound, you see the trees moving gently, you experience the word. And this experience makes the word stay with you. Reading teaches vocabulary through emotion, through images, through connection, through story. Now imagine another line. "She opened the door carefully." The word carefully becomes clear. You can see her slow movement. You understand the feeling. And later, when you need to speak, your brain remembers the word naturally. This is why readers speak with more variety, because they learn words in context, not in isolation. Reading also teaches you grammar, without studying grammar. Let me show you. When you read, "He was walking." He walked. He has walked. He will walk. Your brain begins to feel the difference, slowly, softly, naturally. You don't need to memorize the rule. Your brain sees the pattern. Your brain copies the pattern. Your brain uses the pattern. Reading teaches your brain grammar the same way children learn grammar, by seeing it again and again in real situations. And this is why reading creates natural English, the kind that feels alive, not robotic. Now, let's return to you sitting with your book. You are reading slowly, enjoying each sentence. Your brain is connecting ideas. Your imagination is creating pictures. Your emotions are responding to the story. And without noticing it, your English is growing in many directions at the same time. Your vocabulary is growing. Your grammar understanding is growing. Your sentence rhythm is growing. Your imagination is growing. Your listening skills are growing. Your speaking confidence is growing. Your thinking is becoming more flexible and creative. This is why reading is not only a language tool, it is a full English experience. Now imagine you take a small break. You close the book gently. You look up at the wall. And suddenly, you realize something surprising. The English sentences you just read are still inside your mind. You can still hear them softly. You can still remember the feeling of the story. This is what reading does. It stays with you. It lives inside you. It grows inside you. Your English does not disappear after you close the book. It continues working quietly in your mind, even while you walk, even while you relax, even while you sleep. Reading plants seeds inside your brain, and these seeds grow into natural, beautiful English. Now open the book again. Slowly, calmly, because your journey continues. Now imagine a new moment. The day has moved forward. Afternoon light fills your room, soft, warm, golden. You sit by the window, holding your book gently, like it is something special, something alive, something important. You breathe in slowly. And as you open the next page, you begin a new part of your journey, the emotional journey of reading. Reading is not only about words and meaning. Reading is also about feelings, quiet feelings, deep feelings, hidden feelings. Every story is like a small key. And when you read, these keys open doors inside your mind and inside your heart. As you begin the next chapter, something soft happens. You start to feel what the characters feel. Their emotions slowly become your emotions. Their questions become your questions. Their dreams become your dreams. Maybe the character feels lonely. And suddenly, you remember a moment when you felt lonely too. Maybe the character feels excited. And you feel your heart move a little faster. Maybe the character feels afraid. And you feel a small coldness inside your chest. Maybe the character feels hope. And your eyes feel brighter. This emotional connection is what makes reading powerful. Because emotions are the bridge between your mind and the story. And when you walk across that bridge, you learn deeper, remember longer, and understand more clearly. Let's walk across that bridge now. Imagine the character is standing in the middle of a quiet road. The sky is gray. The wind is moving softly. He looks lost, confused, unsure. As you read his thoughts, you feel a soft heaviness inside you. Not sad, just quiet, reflective, human. You keep reading. The character takes a deep breath. He remembers something important, a promise he made to himself. He steps forward. And suddenly, you feel something inside you step forward too. This is the emotional journey of reading. You don't only follow the character's story. You follow your own inner story at the same time. Now think about this. Emotions help language stay in your memory. When a sentence touches your heart, your brain holds it more tightly. When a moment feels meaningful, the English becomes meaningful too. You remember the words not because you studied them, but because you felt them. Learning through emotion is gentle. Learning through emotion is powerful. Learning through emotion is natural. This is why reading helps your English more than you expect. Let's go deeper. Imagine the story introduces a sad moment. Someone loses something important. Someone feels broken inside. Someone cries quietly. And as you read, you feel a soft ache in your chest. You slow down. You breathe differently. You feel the sadness, not only in the story, but also inside yourself. And yet, this sadness is safe. It is not your sadness. It is the character's sadness. You feel it, you understand it, and then you slowly let it go. Reading teaches you how to feel safely. And this emotional practice makes you stronger, both in life and in language. Now imagine the story changes. A bright moment arrives. Maybe a smile, a small success, a warm hug, a moment of courage. And you feel your body relax. Your shoulders soften. A small smile appears on your face. You feel hopeful, even if you didn't expect to. Reading gives you emotional balance, sadness, hope, fear, courage, all in small, gentle waves. And when emotions move in waves, your mind becomes flexible. You grow. Your understanding deepens. And you begin to understand yourself better. Now let's think about how this helps your English. When you speak a language, you don't only use words, you use feelings. You use tone, emotion, rhythm. Reading helps you recognize emotional patterns in English. You learn how English expresses fear, happiness, surprise, sadness, love, confusion. You learn sentences like, I didn't expect that. That made me smile. I felt something change inside me. I don't know why, but this moment is important. You see these sentences in stories. You feel them. They become part of your emotional language. And one day, without planning it, you will use them naturally in conversation. Now imagine the character meets someone new. Someone kind. Someone who listens. Someone who understands. As they talk, you feel the warmth of connection. You feel comfort. You feel trust. Reading teaches you the emotion of communication, and this emotion helps you speak English with more confidence. Because when you feel calm, when you feel connected, when you feel safe, your voice becomes stronger. Let's follow the story again. The character faces a challenge. Something difficult. Something heavy. Something they are not sure how to handle. You feel the tension in your chest. You wonder what will happen. You turn the page more slowly now, not because you are afraid, but because you care. Reading teaches you patience. It teaches you curiosity. It teaches you how to stay with a feeling, even if it is uncomfortable. And this patience helps your English too. Because English is not about rushing. It is about staying with the language. Staying with the meaning. Staying with the moment. Now imagine the character finally takes a brave step. Maybe they confront their fear. Maybe they speak the truth. Maybe they follow their heart. And when they do, you feel something lift inside you. A small, quiet victory. A proud moment. A warm feeling that spreads slowly inside your chest. Reading teaches you the emotion of courage. It shows you that even simple actions can be brave, even small steps can be powerful, even quiet people can be heroes. And when you feel this courage, your English grows too. Because speaking a new language requires bravery, and reading gives your heart the training it needs. Now, let's step back for a moment. You close the book gently. You put your hand on the cover. You feel calm. You feel thoughtful. You feel a little changed, even if you cannot explain why. The story touched you, the characters moved you, the emotions grew inside you. And all of this, the sadness, the hope, the fear, the courage, the curiosity, helped your English become more human, more natural, more alive. This emotional journey is not something you study. It is something you experience. And every time you experience it, your English becomes stronger. You open the book again, you breathe softly, you turn the next page, and the journey continues. Picture this moment. The day is now quiet again. Evening is approaching, but not fully here yet. It's that soft time of day when the light outside is fading slowly, gently, like a sleeping child closing their eyes. You sit down in your favorite chair, the book resting on your lap, and you take a long, slow breath. This is your reading time. And something begins to happen the moment you open the book, something that is rare in today's busy world. Your mind becomes quiet. Your heart becomes calm. Your thoughts slow down. You feel peaceful. Not because the world changed, but because you entered a different space. Reading creates this space, this place of inner peace and focus. Let's walk step by step into this quiet place. You look at the page. The words sit there, waiting for your attention. Not demanding. Not rushing. Not shouting. Just waiting calmly, like a lake with still water. The moment you begin reading, your mind begins to slow down, like a soft wave touching the shore. You read one sentence, then another, then another. And slowly, everything inside you begins to settle. All day, your mind was busy. Thinking. Clicking. Swiping. Planning. Remembering. Worrying. Moving fast. Too fast. But now, your mind feels free. Light. Balanced. The act of reading gently teaches your brain how to focus. Focus is like a muscle. If you never use it, it becomes weak. But when you use it, even for 5 minutes a day, it becomes stronger, strong enough to help you think clearly, learn deeply, and stay calm during stress. Imagine this. As you read, your mind stops jumping from thought to thought. You are not thinking about the future. You are not stuck in the past. You are here in this moment with the story, with the words, with yourself. This is focus. This is presence. This is inner peace. Reading is not only learning, reading is meditation with words. But how does this help your English? Because when your mind is calm, English feels easier. When your mind is calm, you understand faster. When your mind is calm, you learn naturally. When your mind is calm, your fear disappears, and a calm mind can do more than a stressed mind ever can. Let's go back to your book. Picture yourself reading a quiet scene. The character is sitting on a hill, watching the sun go down. The sky is soft, the wind is gentle, and the moment is peaceful. As you read the description, your breathing slows down without you noticing. Your shoulders relax. Your thoughts become soft and warm. The story gives you peace, and this peace helps you learn. You continue reading. The character is thinking about life, not in a dramatic way, but in a simple, reflective way. As you read their thoughts, you start to reflect too. You think about your own day, your own choices, your own feelings. This gentle reflection is something reading invites you to do. Reading gives you mental space, space to think, space to breathe, space to understand yourself. And when you understand yourself better, you speak more clearly, you listen more deeply, you connect more strongly. This is not just language training, this is mind training. Now imagine that you were busy all day running, working, solving problems, answering messages, listening to noise. Your mind felt tired, heavy, crowded. But the moment you opened your book, the noise inside you began to fade. Reading gives you a soft doorway out of stress. Every page you read is like a step away from pressure and a step toward calmness. This inner peace makes learning English easier, because stress blocks understanding, fear blocks memory, noise blocks thinking. But reading clears all of that away. Let me show you another moment. You are reading and the story becomes more interesting. You forget your phone. You forget the noise outside. You forget the world for a few minutes. And this, my friend, is beautiful because focus brings joy. Reading gives your brain a quiet joy, the joy of being fully present in one thing. And this skill, this focus, helps you in everything. In listening to English, in speaking English, in learning English, in living your life. Now imagine something simple. You finish a paragraph and you pause. You close your eyes for a moment. Your mind is clear. Your heart is calm. You feel light. You feel peaceful. The story carried you away, but it also brought you back to yourself, calmer, softer, stronger. This is the gift of reading that it gives you not only knowledge, but also peace. You turn the page. You continue reading. And the calm continues. Let's think about something for a moment. Why is it hard for many people to focus today? Because the world is loud, phones beep, messages appear, videos play, news pops up, everything is fast, fast, fast. But reading is slow, gentle, quiet, human. Reading teaches your mind to slow down, not too slow, but just slow enough to think clearly again. When you read slowly, your English enters your mind more deeply. You understand not only the meaning of the words, but the feeling of the words. This deep understanding is what creates natural English. Now picture this scene. You are sitting somewhere quiet, maybe in a park, maybe by the window, maybe on your bed. You open your book. And the moment you begin reading, you feel the world around you soften. A child laughs somewhere in the distance. Birds sing softly. The wind touches your face. But these sounds do not distract you. They simply float around you as you go deeper into the story. Your mind is focused. Your heart is calm. Your English is growing. This is inner peace. This is the calm mind that reading builds. Now imagine finishing the chapter. You close the book slowly. You place it gently on your lap, and you just sit there, breathing softly. You feel different. Not because something big happened in your life, but because something soft happened inside you. Your mind feels clean, your heart feels lighter, your thoughts feel organized. This peaceful feeling is not only good for your emotional life, it is powerful for your English, because a peaceful mind learns faster and remembers longer. Reading teaches you the art of calm learning, the art of slow, gentle growth, the art of understanding with peace. And every day you read, this peaceful strength grows inside you. You pick up the book again. Imagine a new moment now. It is a peaceful afternoon. The sunlight is warm and golden, but not too bright. You sit in your quiet place, maybe with a cup of tea or warm water, maybe with nothing at all, just you, your breath, and your book. You open the next page gently, and the moment your eyes meet the words, your imagination begins to wake up. Imagination is one of the most beautiful parts of being human. It is the quiet movie inside your mind. It is the voice you hear when you read. It is the pictures you see. It is the world you build, even when no one else can see it. And reading is the door that opens this inner world. Let's step inside together. You look at the first sentence on the page. Maybe it says something like, "The night was dark, but the stars were bright." You read it, and your imagination immediately begins to paint a picture. You see the dark sky. You see shining stars. Maybe you imagine a cool breeze. Maybe you imagine the sound of crickets or distant wind. Your brain is not empty. Your brain is creating. This creation is imagination, and reading is the spark that lights it. Now imagine the next line. She walked slowly, watching the stars one by one. Your imagination continues the scene. You see her walking. You imagine her face, her clothes, the sound of her footsteps, the feeling of the night around her. You are not just reading, you are traveling. Your mind leaves your room and enters a world made of words, made of pictures, made of feelings. This mental travel makes reading magical. It makes learning English magical. It makes your mind stronger, more flexible, more alive. Let's go deeper. Imagine the next part of the story takes you to a place you have never seen before. Maybe a small village hidden between two mountains, or a busy street in a faraway city, or a quiet beach where the waves whisper secrets. It does not matter if you have never been there. Your imagination builds it for you. Your imagination fills the scene with color, with sound, with emotion. Reading gives you the structure. Your imagination gives the life. Now let's think about how this helps your English. When you use imagination, your brain becomes more active. You are not only understanding words, you are experiencing them. And when you experience language, you remember it more deeply. If you read the word forest in a list, your brain forgets it quickly. But if you read about a character walking into a forest, the smell, the color, the sound, your brain remembers the word forever. Because it was not just a word. It was a feeling. A picture. A moment. This is why imagination is powerful. This is why reading is powerful. Reading teaches your brain to imagine in English, and this imagination makes your English more natural, more fluid, more creative. Let's follow the story again. The character enters a small house. The walls are wooden. The air smells like old memories. The floor makes a soft sound, creak, creak, creak. As you read, your imagination creates the sound, creates the smell, creates the movement. You are inside the story, you are inside the world, you are inside the mind of the character. Imagine the character opens a box. Inside there is something special, maybe a letter, maybe a picture, maybe a small object that carries meaning. The author describes it slowly, carefully, gently. And your imagination begins to wonder, what is inside? Why is it important? How will it change the story? This curiosity wakes up your brain. Your imagination grows. Your English grows too. Now imagine the character reads the letter inside the box. As you read the words of the letter, your imagination becomes both the character and the scene around them. You feel their emotion. You hear the voice inside the letter. You picture the person who wrote it. All of this happens inside your mind because imagination is alive. And reading gives it energy. Now think about this. Imagination helps you listen better. When you listen to English, your brain tries to build pictures. It tries to understand situations. It tries to connect ideas. If you practice imagination through reading, your listening becomes easier, softer, clearer. When someone speaks English to you, your mind will imagine their words. You will see the story behind the words. You will understand the feeling behind the meaning. Your English will feel natural. Reading also helps your speaking. When you speak, you need vocabulary, grammar, and ideas. Imagination gives you ideas. It gives you creativity. It gives you the ability to describe things clearly because you have practiced building pictures in your mind. Now imagine this. You close the book for a moment and your mind continues imagining. The world of the story stays alive inside you. Maybe you see the stars again. Maybe you hear the night wind. Maybe you imagine the character still walking. This shows something important. Your imagination keeps learning, even when you stop reading. And this quiet learning makes your English stronger without pressure. Let's return to the story. The character begins to walk toward a new place, maybe a secret path, maybe an old memory, maybe a future dream. As you read each sentence, your imagination becomes brighter. You see more details. You feel more emotions. You create more meaning. Then you turn the page and the story surprises you. Something unexpected happens. Something you didn't see coming. And your imagination reacts. It rearranges the picture, changes the scene, adds new details. This flexibility is important. Imagination teaches your brain how to adapt, and this makes speaking English easier. Because speaking is not just remembering words. Speaking is creating ideas in real time, and imagination trains the part of your brain that creates. Now imagine the character reaches a place that feels like a dream, a quiet lake, a hidden room, a beautiful hill, a mysterious forest. The author describes it slowly, softly, gently. And as you read, your imagination paints it carefully. You feel the freshness of the lake. You feel the mystery of the room. You feel the beauty of the hill. You feel the depth of the forest. You feel the story inside your mind. Reading gives you worlds, and imagination lets you live in them. Now let's step back. You close your book, but you still see the world of the story. You still feel the emotions. You still hear the sounds. You still imagine the details. This shows you something powerful. When you read, you do not only understand English, you create English inside your imagination. This creation is what makes your English grow. Imagine this moment. The sky outside is turning a gentle blue-gray. Evening is coming, slowly and calmly, like a soft blanket covering the day. You sit with your book again, the same book you have been reading, the same story you have been traveling through. You touch the pages with your fingertips, feeling the small movements and the quiet texture. You take a slow breath. And you begin to read again. This time, something different happens inside you. As the sentences flow easily into your eyes, into your mind, and into your heart, you notice that your thoughts feel clearer, softer, kinder, more organized. Reading does something special to your mind. It brings order to your thoughts. It brings structure to your ideas. It brings clarity to your inner world. Let's explore this together. Imagine your mind is like a room. During the day, this room gets messy, full of worries, memories, plans, questions, and little pieces of stress. All these things fall on the floor of your mind room, one after another. By evening, the room feels crowded, heavy, confusing. But when you read, it's like someone quietly enters the room and begins to clean it. Slowly, gently, carefully. Your thoughts begin to stand in lines instead of being in piles. Ideas become clear instead of messy. Your mind becomes fresh again. This is the power of reading. You look at the page. The author gives you one sentence at a time. Your brain accepts that sentence. Then the next one. Then the next one. Your mind follows a gentle, clear path, a path created by the author's words. This path helps your thoughts become organized. You are not rushing. You are not jumping between worries. You are not carrying 10 ideas at the same time. You are focused. You are calm. You are clear. This clarity helps your English too. Because when your mind is clear, your English becomes clear. When your mind is peaceful, your speaking becomes peaceful. When your mind is organized, your sentences become organized. Now, let's imagine the story again. You read about a character thinking deeply, maybe about life, maybe about a choice, maybe about a memory. The character's thoughts are written on the page one by one in a simple, gentle order. As you read their thoughts, your own thoughts begin to follow the same quiet rhythm, slow, soft, clear. The character thinks and you think. The character wonders and you wonder. The character reflects and you reflect. This shared thinking makes your mind cleaner. Reading gives you the chance to slow down your thoughts. To listen to them. To understand them. To guide them. Now imagine you come across a moment in the story where the character faces a difficult problem. Instead of panicking or rushing, the author describes the characters thinking step by step. You read each step, you feel each step, you understand the movement of their mind. And your mind learns from that movement. It learns how to think slowly, how to think calmly, how to think clearly. Reading teaches you gentle thinking. This is important for your English because speaking a language is not only about vocabulary, it is about thinking clearly in the language. If your thoughts are messy, your English will feel messy. If your thoughts are calm, your English will feel calm. Now imagine this. You stop reading for a moment. You close your eyes. And you notice that your thoughts are no longer loud. They are no longer jumping around. They are smooth. They are gentle. They are quiet. Reading has brought silence into your mind, not an empty silence, but a peaceful silence, a silence that makes thinking easier. This silence becomes your strength. Now you open the book again. You continue reading. And as you go deeper into the story, you notice something interesting. The language in the book begins to shape the language inside your mind. The structure of sentences begins to shape the structure of your thoughts. This is how reading teaches clarity. You learn not by memorizing, but by absorbing, not by forcing, but by feeling, not by pressure, but by presence. Imagine the next paragraph describes a simple scene, maybe someone walking down the road, maybe someone preparing tea, maybe someone sitting quietly near a window. The description is slow, easy, clear. As you read this clear description, your mind begins to describe things more clearly too. Your inner voice becomes slower, softer, more focused. This is mental training. This is clarity training. This is English training. Now picture yourself trying to explain something in English. Before reading, you might think too fast, worry too much, or feel unsure. But after reading, your mind feels lighter. Your words come more easily. Your ideas feel more organized. Reading sharpens your thinking. Clear thinking sharpens your speaking. Imagine going back to the story. The character reaches a point where they understand something important. A realization. A moment of truth. A gentle discovery that changes the direction of the story. You read this moment slowly, carefully, with your full attention. As the character's understanding becomes clearer, your understanding becomes clearer too. The story's clarity becomes your clarity. The character's thinking becomes your thinking. Reading gives you new ways to think, new ways to understand, new ways to communicate. Now imagine closing the book for a moment. You look around your room. Everything feels a little different, not because the room changed, but because you changed. Your thoughts feel open. Your mind feels fresh. You feel calm. You understand things a little better. You understand yourself a little more. You understand the world with a little more softness. This is the gift of reading. This is the gift of clarity. Your thoughts are no longer clouds. Your thoughts are now clear water. And just like water, they can move smoothly through your mind and flow gently into your English. You open the book again. Imagine a quiet evening. The room is soft and warm, and the world outside seems to move slowly. You sit with your book again, feeling its weight in your hands. You breathe slowly, gently, and open to the next page. As you read, something subtle begins to grow inside you. A small feeling at first. A quiet strength. A soft confidence. Confidence is like a small flame. It does not burn loudly at first. It is not bright or dramatic. But it is steady, warm, and alive. And reading helps this flame grow. Let's explore how. You read a sentence. Maybe it says, "He looked at the sky and realized he could try again." Simple words. Simple idea. But inside your mind, something clicks. You see the character taking a small step forward, even after difficulty. And this small moment teaches you something important. Small steps can lead to big change. Every time you read a sentence like this, your brain absorbs more than words. It absorbs courage. It absorbs calmness. It absorbs patience. It absorbs belief. Now imagine you read a paragraph where the character speaks English naturally. Maybe they talk to a friend, explain a problem, or ask for help. The sentences are simple, clear, gentle. You read them slowly. You understand them naturally. And without realizing it, your brain begins to copy the patterns. The words, the rhythm, the pauses, all of them quietly enter your mind. And one day, when you speak English, you begin to use these patterns naturally. Confidence grows in this way, quietly, gently, step by step. Let's go deeper. Imagine the character makes a mistake. They say the wrong thing. They feel nervous. They pause. But then they correct themselves. They keep speaking. They keep trying. Reading this moment teaches you something important about learning English. It is okay to make mistakes. Mistakes are part of learning. Mistakes are part of speaking naturally. Mistakes do not stop confidence. Mistakes grow confidence. Now imagine you pause in your reading. You close your eyes. You imagine yourself speaking English the same way the character speaks, slowly, clearly, with small pauses, with simple sentences, with care. You feel a soft strength inside. You feel that you can do it. You feel that your English is already improving. This is how reading builds confidence, by giving your mind examples, by giving your heart reassurance, by showing you that progress is possible. You open your eyes and continue reading. The story describes a challenge. Maybe the character must speak to someone important. Maybe they must explain something difficult. Maybe they must ask for help. As you read each word, your mind follows along. You imagine the conversation. You imagine the feelings. You imagine the pauses, the tone, the calmness. And slowly, your brain learns. Speaking English is not only possible, it can be clear, simple, and natural. Now think about vocabulary. Many learners fear using new words. But reading shows you new words in context. You see how they are used in real sentences. You see how small mistakes or variations are normal. And this familiarity reduces fear. Less fear means more confidence. Every paragraph you read quietly practices your brain for speaking. Every sentence teaches rhythm. Every dialogue teaches flow. Every story teaches courage. Let's imagine the story's ending is not dramatic. It is simple. The character takes a small step, smiles softly, feels a little stronger. And you feel the same inside. You close your book gently. You place it on your lap. You breathe slowly. And you notice something new. Your confidence has grown a little today. Confidence does not come in a day. It does not arrive with a single word. It grows quietly, patiently, page by page, sentence by sentence, paragraph by paragraph. And reading gentle, slow, thoughtful reading is the best way to nurture it. Now imagine this. You speak English tomorrow. You try to explain something simple. You remember a sentence you read. You remember a word used by a character. You feel calm. You feel steady. You feel able. This is the gift of reading. This is how confidence works. Not by pressure. Not by memorizing lists. Not by forcing perfection. But by slowly, naturally, building understanding, rhythm, vocabulary, and emotional strength one page at a time. Imagine the morning. The sun is soft, not too bright, and the world feels quiet. You wake up, stretch your body slowly, and think about your day ahead. But before you rush into work, school, or errands, you take one small, gentle step. You open your book. Reading a little every day may seem small. It may seem simple. But small steps, repeated every day, become powerful. And this small habit, reading daily, can change your English, your mind, and even your life. Let's explore how to make this habit easy, natural, and lasting. First, think about time. You do not need hours. 5 minutes is enough. 10 minutes is enough. 15 minutes is enough. Even a short moment, done every day, grows into something strong. Imagine this. You read 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes at lunch, 5 minutes before bed. Each small session is like a tiny seed planted in your mind. And every day, these seeds grow quietly, gently, steadily. Consistency is more important than speed, more important than long sessions. The brain loves rhythm. When you read every day, your brain begins to expect the words. Your mind begins to open naturally. Your English grows without pressure. Now, imagine where you read. You can choose a quiet corner, your bed, a park bench, a bus ride. Anywhere that allows you to focus, even a little. The key is not the place, but the habit. Let's picture the morning again. You open your book, breathe slowly, and read. Maybe your eyes feel heavy at first. Maybe your mind wanders. That's okay. Keep reading gently. Don't rush. Even a sentence or two is enough. Your brain is listening. Your heart is learning. And after a week, something changes. You notice words you read before now feel familiar. Sentences you didn't understand now make sense. Little by little, you are learning without noticing. Imagine this month later. The small habit has grown stronger. You read a paragraph and your mind is clear. You read a dialogue and your imagination responds immediately. You hear words in your mind and feel them naturally. This is the power of daily reading. Small, gentle, consistent steps create lasting change. Now, imagine your English listening. Reading daily trains your brain to recognize sentence patterns, vocabulary, and rhythm. Listening becomes easier because your mind has already met these words. Speaking becomes easier too. When you read daily, your mouth remembers sentences. Your tongue moves naturally. Your pauses feel right. Your rhythm feels calm. Your English is no longer forced, it flows. Let's picture a challenge. You try to speak English in a real conversation. Before reading daily, you might feel nervous. You might search for words. You might hesitate. After reading daily for weeks, the difference is clear. You feel calm. You feel prepared. You feel confident. Your sentences are smoother. Your voice feels steady. You are ready. Daily reading also builds imagination. You can picture conversations before they happen. You can imagine stories, feelings, and words. This mental training helps you respond naturally, even in real life. Now, let's talk about joy. Reading daily is not only about learning English. It is about feeling happy, curious, and alive. Every day, the story becomes a small adventure. Every day, the words bring comfort. Every day, your mind grows stronger. Imagine your small reading habit after months. You open your book and a calm smile spreads across your face. You read effortlessly. You understand naturally. You feel peaceful. You feel confident. You feel ready for anything. The secret is simple. Make reading small, easy, and daily. 5 minutes. 10 minutes. 15 minutes. Every day. The words, the stories, the imagination, the emotions, all of them grow inside you slowly, steadily, powerfully. And here is one last thought. Reading daily is not about pressure. It is not about perfection. It is about presence. Being present with the words. Being present with the story. Being present with your mind. As you continue, you notice something amazing. Your English is no longer something you study. It is something you live. Something you experience. Something natural. Something beautiful. So you open your book again. You breathe slowly. You smile softly. You continue your journey. One page at a time. One day at a time. And your English, your mind, and your confidence grow quietly, steadily, powerfully. Imagine this moment. You close your book slowly, placing it on your lap. The room is quiet. The world outside is soft. And you take a long, calm breath. You feel a gentle warmth inside, a quiet satisfaction, a soft peace, a small but powerful confidence. This is reflection. This is the moment when your mind stops rushing. Your thoughts slow down. You notice what has changed inside you. And when you reflect, you see how reading transforms your mind and your English. Let's take a gentle journey through this reflection. First, your mind. Before you began reading regularly, your thoughts might have felt crowded, messy, or fast. You might have struggled to focus. You might have felt nervous about learning English. But reading has changed this. Slowly, gently, quietly. Your mind has learned focus. Your mind has learned calm. Your mind has learned clarity. The words, the sentences, the stories have trained your brain to slow down, notice, and understand. Now, your imagination. Reading has given your mind a gift, the power to imagine. You can picture places, feelings, and ideas. You can create worlds inside your mind. This imagination makes listening easier. This imagination makes speaking easier. This imagination makes English natural. Next, your confidence. Every page you read, every sentence you understood, every story you followed, all of it quietly built your confidence. You have learned, it is okay to make mistakes. It is okay to try slowly. It is okay to take small steps. Confidence grows from repeated small successes, and reading provides them every day. Now, think about your English. Your listening has improved because your mind recognizes patterns, vocabulary, and rhythm from reading. Your speaking has improved because you have internalized natural sentences, gentle pauses, and soft expressions. Your comprehension has improved because your mind is calm, clear, and attentive. But reading does more than teach English. Reading teaches life. It teaches patience. It teaches curiosity. It teaches reflection. It teaches the beauty of small, quiet moments. It teaches presence. Imagine yourself reading a story again. You are not just learning words. You are feeling emotions. You are imagining characters. You are noticing details. You are reflecting on life. And all of this quietly strengthens your mind, your heart, and your English. Reflection also shows you how far you have come. You may remember the first sentence you read weeks or months ago. How difficult it felt. How strange the words sounded. How unsure you were. And now, you notice the change. The words feel familiar. The sentences feel natural. Your mind feels calm. Your confidence feels steady. This gentle recognition of progress is important. Often, learners feel discouraged because they compare themselves to perfection. But reflection teaches a simple truth. Progress is quiet, slow, and cumulative. Small steps, repeated, create transformation. Imagine another moment. You read a paragraph about a character facing a challenge. You notice how they think, how they act, how they feel. And you realize this is similar to your learning journey. You face challenges too. You make mistakes. You pause. You try again. And every day you grow. Reading teaches empathy. Reading teaches understanding. Reading teaches patience. And all these qualities help your English grow naturally, without pressure. Now, imagine looking at your life a little differently. Every day, you take 5 or 10 minutes to read. You feel calm. You feel focused. You feel present. You notice small details, small joys, small progress. And this quiet practice begins to shape not just your English, but your mind, your habits, and your life. Reflection is also about gratitude. You can feel thankful for the simple moments, a quiet chair, a warm light, a soft page turning in your hands. You can feel thankful for the small victories, a sentence understood, a paragraph remembered, a story imagined. Gratitude makes learning gentle, soft, and joyful. Finally, reflection is about seeing the future. You now understand how reading transforms your mind. You now know how it strengthens your focus, imagination, and confidence. You now see that English is not a separate task, it is part of life, part of thinking, part of feeling, part of growing. As you close the book today, take a deep breath. Feel the calm inside. Feel the clarity. Feel the confidence. And know this, every page you read, every moment you spend in stories is a step toward English that flows naturally, easily, beautifully. And so, you smile softly, open your eyes, and continue the journey slowly, gently, patiently every day. One word, one sentence, one story at a time. Because reading is not just learning English, reading is transforming your mind. Reading is nurturing your imagination. Reading is building your confidence. Reading is shaping your life. And today, you are stronger, calmer, and more confident than yesterday. You pick up your book again. You breathe slowly. You smile softly. Thank you so much for joining today's lesson here at Mr. English Lab. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below telling me what you want to learn next. Your support helps the channel grow and helps me create more lessons for you. Take care, keep practicing, and I'll see you in the next class.